Back at West Lakes, when most weeks were defeats, to make it look sold out. Probably didn't notice, but we'd put some tops on some seats. Then we were winning. Our fans were there, but now we suck again. So we can never tear up our tops.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Swans Bigfooty Podcast. My name is Bonz. Joining me today we have Millky.
Hello.
And Vonn.
Hello.
Now we are coming off, and I won't make this any lighter, a really shit performance against Richmond that I am blaming Shaw completely for our loss. Millky, what were your thoughts?
I think the biggest issue everyone that I've read comments issue with the game was the fact that we were up by, I think it was 32 points at halftime, and then we lost from there at home. If it was a seesawing, no one got further than 2 goals in front, I think everyone would have been much happier because it was closer, tighter. But to give up, I think it was like 50 points in that second half. I think we only kicked 3 goals. That's just the deplorable effort that I think is the reason why everyone's so upset and so hurt. I don't know if it was the bye. I don't know if it was we were too reliant on Jeddah and Jeddah got tagged out, or if it was Shaw, or if it was just sheer laziness or arrogance, or the fact that Franklin became a puddle of mud after he got reported. I don't know what it was, but it was a disappointing second half to watch.
Vonn, what were your thoughts on the game?
Pretty expensive puddle of mud.
Yeah.
A few things. Hit-outs and clearances, we broke even with Richmond, and I know that that's not really saying too much, but a lot of people every single week on the board like to bang on about that, and I just want to prove that you can also win those stats and not win the game. So at the end of the day, stats aren't indicative of everything. Other thing as well, I know it's a loss, and it was a very poor loss, and I don't want to make any excuses for it because it was absolutely atrocious. Like, you should not be giving up a 40-ish point lead.
32.
But I don't know, whatever, a shit ton. But it's like a lot of people are just acting as though, you know, we've I don't know, compromised our culture. Like, a few of the threads that have been up have just been a bit funny, and it just kind of makes me think that you should play 4 quarters, but you can't possibly dominate every single minute of those 4 quarters. And I guess what I have an issue with is when we are clearly on top with momentum, we don't capitalise to our full extent. I don't mind if we have patches, 10-minute patches of a quarter where, you know, like Richmond, they went ahead and kicked 7 unanswered goals or something. So it's just like we are more than capable of doing that, but we elect not to. So that's just something that absolutely shits me. Hawthorn are the other team that when they get momentum, they just they put on so much scoreboard pressure, and that's something that we don't do. I'm not sure if it's because we don't have good avenues to goal or if we just don't have an attacking mindset, but yeah, it's cost us a few times, and I think last few weeks we've had pretty easy opponents. Gold Coast, Carlton, they've kind of covered over the fact that we have a pretty average ruck division and a even shitter backline. Our hard-running midfield's definitely glossed over that. So, yeah, that got pretty exposed against Richmond. Yeah, it was just a pretty shit game to watch. Pretty frustrating. We had a chance to win it as well in the last few minutes, and McVeigh and Rowan couldn't put it through, and yeah. Only positive was Jack played a good game. Rowan played a good half. Yeah.
We've lost our midfield's ability to kick goals. I've noticed this year too. I think that was one of the few times I've ever seen Kennedy kick a goal on the weekend. We've just lost that ability for our mids to be confident to kick a goal. They're constantly looking for Franklin, looking for Tippett, and when they have a set shot anywhere from 35, 55 metres out, they're constantly looking for Tippett and Franklin, but because of it's a set shot, they've got 5 men on them. It's bad.
I also want to point out that you said Shaw had a good half. He wasn't
I didn't say
actually.
Shaw, I said Rowan.
Oh no, Shaw. Sorry, yeah, Rowan.
You've got your mind on Shaw.
I am going to tear into Shaw so badly. It's going to be fantastic. No, but Rowan, you said he had a good half. In the second half, you spend a fair bit of time in the back line, and I don't think he was that bad down there. He had a fair few 1%ers. I think, in all honesty, and it's been cut out a little bit due to basically the end result, but I still think it was probably Rowan's best game he's had at the club.
It was definitely his best game, but what I just don't understand is if Buddy's not firing and Tippett's not really, like, I know he played a semi-decent game, but Tippett, as Millky said, went to shit in the last quarter. I don't know why we didn't move him further up the goal and put Rowan back in the forward line or more on the ground, like on the field, as he was playing in the first half. I don't know why we put him into the back line.
I think a lot of the game on the weekend could actually just be attributed to Longmire being outcoached in the second half. Like, we didn't. They would allow us to get a lot of ball outside in the second half, but they had extra numbers on the outside, which would apply pressure and just force our entire disposal efficiency coming out of the midfield to really basically turn to whack it on the boot, long, and hope, which never really works. When we're at our best running for the midfield, and we showed that at times in the first half, is when we get a handball and flick it around the back. That's the reason why a lot of the time we lose the clearance, but because we've kept players on the outside, it allows us to basically impact the scoreboard and look a lot better in the midfield by a hard running. Whilst in the second half, when we were especially getting rattled by Richmond on the weekend, we were throwing extra players at the ball. So at times we had all going on the inside. We had Parker, Kennedy, and Hanbury all playing inside when Hanbury was predominantly on the outside in the first half. We had no one on the outside to apply pressure, so Richmond were getting a lot of easy clearances, which was really annoying.
To go back onto your Rowan point, I don't think Rowan can play 4 quarters of football yet. I don't think his legs are quite there. I think he needs another pre-season to do it. So it makes me want to almost consider him playing the sub again, like he did against Fremantle, and bring him on sometime in the second half where he can really have an impact, because he was so good in that first half. It was fantastic. Then he faded away. I don't know if I think that was an endurance thing, so I think he might be better off suited into a sub or a holding him back more in the first half.
I actually have to disagree here. I don't think it would have been an endurance thing on the weekend. It's basically our disposal into our forward 50 turned to shit. We weren't getting it past the centre of the ground, and then we moved into defence to try and stop the glut. If you change a player's role halfway through the match, and Rowan has very good physical attributes, except for maybe his endurance. Like, you did touch on that, but his speed and mobility are great, but he's never been a heavy ball getter. He doesn't show a lot of intelligence when playing. So I think that could have possibly been affected by, could have possibly been changing his position in the middle of a game could rattle him a little bit. I think Rowan's the type of player it'd be best if we leave him in one role and just let him develop from there. I didn't agree with shifting him around the ground.
I don't think I'd like to see him as sub either. If it's his endurance we're trying to build up, you wouldn't play a guy, for a quarter, and as Longmire uses it for 10 minutes. So it's like, we'd just be kind of killing his fitness, actually, if we just let him come on for 10 minutes, especially if we want to look long-term into finals.
Yeah, agree. That's a really good valid point, Vonn.
Fair enough.
And the grand final, considering now we're going to make it because we beat Richmond. We lost to Richmond, and apparently they're like the little guide for who makes the grand final. It's going to be us versus Freo. Put your house on it. And if you lose your house, don't come to me.
Rest in peace, Robbie.
One thing I did actually want to bring up on the weekend, and people will call this sour grapes, but the umpiring decisions did go both ways. Did anyone else find it really stressing on the weekend how start and stop the umpires made the match?
Yes, I actually made this comment 50,000 fucking times. Sorry. I made this comment so many times. In the first quarter, all I could hear was the whistle. And it didn't even, I didn't feel like the umpiring favoured us a lot or favoured them a lot. I just thought it was just really badly umpired. They would just elect to pick the most inconsistent decisions, which 2 seconds later they wouldn't even apply. Half of the ruck free kicks. Like, I don't even know if they're in the rule book. It's just so arbitrary, the ones that they did decide to pick out.
Not to mention the 50-metre penalty for abuse with 4 minutes left in the game. That was a new one. Like, you see people talk back to the umpire all the time, and it didn't look that bad.
He must have swore. That's usually when they call it, is when they get sworn at. But I have to agree. The umpiring, there was too much umpiring. Yes, some favourable decisions went our way with the 50 metres that Smith got and the 50 metres that they got against Jones. So the umpiring was fair, but there was just way too much of it. I think there was nearly 40 free kicks in the whole game.
42. 21 free kicks aside.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
And I think it was 8 or 7 50-metre penalties in a game, which is nuts. And out of those, I think 4 of them was in the last quarter alone, which is just... Like, we want a spectacle in the game to watch. Like, and they're trying to promote fast-flowing football. You keep on doing this start-stop stuff with the umpires, it's going to hurt the game.
Yeah. 50-metre penalties should be like the ultimate penalty in football. Like, it should be for when you, I don't know, like, knock out okay, maybe not knock out, but when you, I don't know, start a punch on with a player or you do something actually serious. I know it's like within the rules, and I know that that's how it's been applied. Like, I just don't like how you can give away 50 metres by going 2 steps over the mark.
See, I disagree with that one. I like it. I like the 50-metre penalty being used as a deterrent, and if you keep breaking the rule, like if you get warned once to get back in the line, if you don't do it, you've been warned.
Could we
told.
just bring back the 15-metre
penalty? I don't
penalty
have it
then?
as if it's like clearly marked where the person is, but sometimes, especially with the whole play on, like sometimes like the umpire like will call play on or whatever, but because they won't call play on and they can't hear it, so then they come forward.
Do you guys believe it may actually be a possibility to bring back the 15-metre penalty?
Nah, clubs will abuse it too much like they did in the past, which is why they extended it to 50 metres.
I think having a 15-metre and a 50-metre penalty in a game wouldn't be the worst. Like a 15-metre penalty would be a first offence, and if you repeat after, it could be a 50.
I just think 50 metres, that's a huge penalty. Like, that's, I don't know, that's just...
Yeah.
Just
a bit
follow
too
the
big
rules.
for me.
The rules are there, follow them, won't get
Yeah,
punished.
the rules are there, but rules always require interpretation, and it's the interpretation that comes into it. Like, I mean, you know, like that Ted Richards, like, I know this is going back 2 games, but he didn't go off the line, but that the umpires interpreted as that he did, and that wasn't what the majority thought. I just don't think I don't think one individual should have so much importance in deciding 50 metres.
I think that one in particular was a mistake, and mistakes do happen, but I think the overall umpiring of the Richmond game was poor for both sides, but overall the umpiring this year I think has been relatively okay.
Now, the other issue, and I've been looking forward to talking about this one for a while, and I really wish Swans was here, so I will...
Oh, this fucking chair.
I will smash into the topic about talking about Sir Swans' cat. No, in all seriousness though, how fucking hopeless is Shaw getting at the moment? He is now a massive liability in our backline. I was reading up yesterday, out of Richmond's 14 goals, 8 of them involved chains of play, including Shaw, which is far too much for a short defender.
Was he the one turning over the ball which led to a goal, or did he like hand bust to someone?
He had 5
turnovers
turnovers in chains that involved in goals to Richmond, and the other 3 were direct one-on-one contests which he lost. It says a lot that he played as a small defender on the weekend and had a grand total of 0 1%ers. He laid 0 tackles as well, which is fantastic. Like, that's really good work for a small defender. Like, I understand if they think, okay, his defense is a little bit shoddy, but he's got good defensive capabilities. But his defence is shit. He can't win a one-on-one contest to save himself. And he doesn't directly really mark a man. I don't really know what he does in defence. He takes the easiest forward every week, and he still manages to leak 1 or 2, maybe 3 goals. Which isn't great. What exactly, and you guys can maybe help out, point this out to me, what is he offering in our team in defence? If you say he's experience, I'd like to think that we're getting enough experience in defence from Richards and Grundy. And you can even say Layla's got enough experience now to really make a difference down in defence. Or McVeigh.
I don't think it's just experience. Okay, rightly or wrongly, I don't think it's just experience. I think it's also that whether he finishes off or not, he provides run out of the half-back line. And I know McVeigh does do that. But, I think we touched on it last week. I personally don't think Shaw's filling Malcheski's role, but at the same time, we've relied on him to, kind of take the game on a lot more. And Laidlaw, Rampy, Smith, those other halfbacks, they've never really been one to kind of kick it forward. I think that's something that I'm not saying that Shaw's doing a good job of it, but it's definitely an avenue that he's providing that our other halfback flankers just aren't at the moment.
Rampy does more rebounds from inside 50 than Shaw. Shaw had, on the weekend, 3 rebound 50s. Rampy had 7. And out of everyone talks about how many clangers and everything Rampy makes. He made 0 clangers on the weekend, which is pretty good for Rampy. And he also helps man up a defensive option a lot better than Shaw. Smith is a lot better defensively, may not have much rebound, but generally when he is kicking, unless it's a goal on the weekend, he is a relatively good kick and usually hits a target. Shaw doesn't, he's there to provide run, but he doesn't really hit a target, so the run is really useless to begin with, and he doesn't do anything defensively. I don't see it unless he's there to offer leadership and experience.
I think he was there to provide a run and carry option as well. I think that's why he's still there. He doesn't have the same kick as Malcheski did, which is one of the reasons why his turnovers are so obvious, because he's playing that. It's quite a hard role in our team, that halfback flanker, to get the ball forward and to start our offense, because how many times it goes back in defence first before we launch forward. That's kind of how we play. So that role's quite difficult for us. That's why he gets noticed a lot more. But I can't remember who I saw post it. I think it was Punts, maybe Sir Swans, I'm not 100% sure, said putting Shaw as a small forward could work. I wouldn't mind seeing that, because his turnovers in the back half
If we're to play Shaw as a small forward, I'd rather him get dropped and we play Jack as a small forward. Brandon, variety.
I'm really interested to see what happens with the ins and outs next week, especially because Heaney, hashtag horny for Heaney, and Ben are both playing in the NEFL this weekend. So provided they have good games, I don't know if we'll bring them both back. Maybe we start Ben and sub Heaney. I would be really interested to see if Shaw keeps his position, because Jones, I hope Jones gets another run at it, and with our suspensions he probably will. I'd really like to see Jones actually start, maybe in that half-back line that Shaw's currently filling.
Sorry, go.
Oh, go ahead, Milky.
Oh, cute.
I think I would like to see either Pike or Nankervis, thank you, in for Tippett. Whether it's Pike, if Pike's fit, or if he's not, give him a week and then bring in Nankervis. I'd like to see how he plays. I think he's equal leading our NEFL goal kicking, if memory serves me correctly. So I'd like to see how he goes as a forward and a ruck option, because I like Derek's as a forward. He presented quite well as a forward on the weekend. In the ruck, yes, he is awful, but as a forward, I think he did well. So I think maybe with Nankervis taking a bit more ruck load, that might be good to see. Or Pike, if Pike's fit, obviously. And I would like to see either Jack or Towers in as a small forward for Franklin.
I think Towers will come in after his game on the weekend. He's been in decent form recently. He's kicking a couple of goals, and he can actually provide a almost like a third tall forward option. He has a height and leap to be able to do it. So I can actually see him coming in. Nankervis is interesting because whilst he showed a lot of form as a forward last year, and especially at under 18s level as a goal kicking ruckman, on the weekend he got 48 hitouts, 16 disposals, and was considered one of the best on ground. Was very, very good in the ruck in the reserves, according to Grimlock and a few other people who have watched the game. So I wouldn't mind Nankervis coming in to decide if Pike is still out injured. I think it'll be Tippett and obviously Franklin out this week, seeing they've both been suspended for 1 week. And oh, please, for the love of God, let it be Shaw. But for some reason, I think he's blowing off Longmire in the coach's rooms to keep his role. So let's say he somehow miraculously keeps his place. I think it'll be Towers and Jack in for the other two, and we'll play Jones not as a sub, but starting on the ground in defense along with the others, and Reed going up into the forward line.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. The only thing, those were my ins and outs as well. Grimlock also posted that Jack had his best game for the year. I think it was 29 disposals,
2 goals, 3, and
something pretty good game. And I've always been a fan of seeing more of Jack, so he'll probably start as sub, and I don't have an issue with that. I don't want to see Derricks play another game. I don't know. I don't even know if he's probably not that bad, but he just doesn't look like a footballer. I don't know.
That's what people used to say about LRT, but I love the guy.
No, but I don't mean physically. I mean the way he moves and
That's physically.
No, not like his features, not like his appearance. I've got nothing against his face or his body. This is kind of getting weird. I've got nothing against. I don't know.
Is it about his package?
Wow, that escalated? No, nothing to do with his package. I just don't like him as a footballer. Every time I notice him, he's always making a mistake. I still remember in the last quarter, he had a chance to set us up for a goal, and he kicked it straight to the Richmond defender. I don't know. It's just something about him makes me think that I don't think he's going to make it. I just don't think he's going to make it, so I wouldn't be against. And he wasn't great in the ruck either.
No, he wasn't. He only had 7 hit-outs in the ruck on the weekend.
So what exactly is he providing?
Which is really funny, because Sam Reid had more hit-outs at him in the weekend, and Reid only spent 12% of the time in the ruck.
Yeah,
he was third man up a lot.
Yeah, he was third man up a lot.
Drop him and bring in Nankervis. We don't have anything to lose.
I wouldn't mind.
If Pike isn't fit, got to play Derricks because we'll need that second tall. If Pike is fit, I wouldn't object to playing Pike and Nankervis and dropping Derricks.
No, I actually believe we can play Nankervis and we can drop Derricks. Port don't have, they've got tools, but...
Patrick Ryder's back this week, I believe.
Yeah, he will be, but...
And he'll destroy whoever we put up there.
That's the reason why...
So then why does it matter?
Yeah. I think it'll be better if we play Nankervis, because unlike Derricks, at least Nankervis can be an option going forward.
Do you guys know what happened in the very, 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 very first second of the match? Derricks gave away a free kick. That just set the tone for the whole evening. Nankervis can do a better job. Or even, if not a better job, just at least break even with that performance.
It's actually a shame Naismith is injured, because he was in a really good form in the reserves and had shown a fair bit over the preseason. I have a feeling if he had stayed fit this year, he could have even been possibly pushing Pike for the starting position, which is a bit of a shame.
I think Naismith will be our main ruck next year.
Yeah, probably.
I can't see Pike playing on another year.
I think we'll keep Pike on the list next year.
I think next year might be a phase.
Yeah.
It might see Pike start with a couple of Naismith games. By the end of it, it'll all be Naismith.
I don't think we'll have a choice. With the whole trade ban, we can't really get anyone.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to. Yeah, not even next year, this year as well. I'm confident we would have gone for a key position defender or a ruck. Yeah.
We had signed a Brisbane defender late last year. I unfortunately thought it was Merritt at first, but then Patfull came out, so must have been him.
It was the fear that we were going to get Ryder and Patfull, and then boom,
We were
trade
never in line for Ryder.
I know.
That was just people being stupid, but we were in line for Patfull, which is a bit of a shame because he would have been really nice in our defence.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting game on Thursday.
Are you guys? How do you guys see us setting up forward?
I don't want to see Reid in the forward line, honestly. I think he's doing really well in defence and just in the back half of the ground. I don't want to compromise that development of him by then suddenly chucking him forward because he has to. I'd like to keep him in the back line.
He will be playing forward on the weekend. There's no chance that he's not playing forward.
I know he will, but I'd like to keep him there so he can eventually move into centre half back, move Grundy to full back, and then as Richards gets older, if he does play on next year, just keep him as the third tall because that's where Richards is good now. He's being shown up by full forwards, particularly marking forwards like Revolt, who absolutely tore him apart.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we'll probably play Reid at centre half forward and use Goods out of the square on the weekend. Goods' contested marking recently has been pretty decent and he can still show a fair bit on the ground, so I won't have any issue of us using Goods out of the square.
At least we'll be able to take a shot from 20 metres out for once.
Exactly. I don't have any issues with Goods being the main forward on the weekend. Just taking whoever's deep. At least on the bright side, if there's a forward 50 throw up or anything, he doesn't have to move around too much or go too far up the ground, so his endurance should be good for forward 50 stoppages, which is probably his main strength at the moment. I really think if we will have to bring in a Towers or a Jack and use them as the third forward, maybe both, and God willing, put Shaw as sub and never sub him onto the field. That'd be a first in the AFL, and it'll be amazing. And then Shaw could actually get a bit of trivia history about himself, which, yeah, I think, you know what, it would actually be a positive. And
it's not going to happen. Do you want to bet mod chip on it?
No.
Anything for a mod chip, Vonn.
Anything. The forward setup I would like to do is the one that we did earlier against them in the year, and it seemed to work quite well. I know we don't have Buddy as the centre half forward kind of thing, but Rowan and Towers applying defensive pressure in the forward line was good. I don't know if Reid will go forward, but I don't know. I don't want to make him our focal target because I just don't think that's how we should use him. I just like to see Rowan, Towers, and even if we don't mimic the exact setup we've been having, we want a premiership with no forwards, essentially. We want a premiership with midfielders who could run forward and kick goals. I don't want to see that attribute of our game gone just because we recruited these two high-profile crap tons of money forward. It's obviously in the Richmond game, we could see that our midfielders, they lacked a bit of polish around goal. I wouldn't mind. Port aren't in fantastic form. Port have been shocking this year, and I don't think they'll be as bad as they were against Melbourne, but I'm not saying that it's a gimme, but I don't think that it would be the most terrible idea to just kind of play around with our forward structure a bit. Because what happens if Buddy goes down with an injury in, the finals or something? So, yeah. Rowan, Towers, and midfielders go nuts.
I'd like to see that too. I can't believe our mids have I think they've just lost confidence in their ability to kick goals. And I think this would be a really good opportunity to get them to remember and refine that confidence that they can kick goals from 35, 40 metres out, not just having to look for Tippett and Franklin all the time.
It'll be interesting. Do you guys have any predictions for this weekend's match?
Swans, but by probably no more than 3 goals.
Vonn?
Yeah, Sydney by 70.
70?
Yeah, I don't know. I just have this feeling.
I'm in a bit of a doomsday mood, so I'm going Port Adelaide by 2 goals.
Oh, come on. Maybe if it was at Adelaide Oval. It's at the SCG.
No, we have a better record at Adelaide Oval than we do.
Yeah, I'll pay that. But, like, it's the SCG. If there was a ground where having no forwards is an issue, like, obviously, yeah, MCG. But at the SCG, it's such a, we play that ground so well. I think we'll get away with not having Tippett and Buddy. And even if we don't have them, like, watching Port this year, their game plan has been worked out. And Ken is just, he just seems very... he just doesn't seem to make a lot of match day decisions, and I don't know, maybe Horse isn't the best coach in the world on game day, but I rate him higher, and I think we'll win. Like, if we control Wingard, I think we'll win quite comfortably.
Wingard, Gray.
But it's one...
them and Ryder are the three I'm worried about on the weekend.
I'm not worried about Ryder. His form has been pretty goddamn shit. But I am really worried about Gray. Wingard, I think Smith can do a really good job on. But I've got a really bad feeling that if Gray's forward and we keep some fucking reason, we keep shoring the team. If they're matched up, he's got it won. I'm also worried about Boak in the midfield. Cochin really tore us a new one in the second half, and Boak's a pretty similar player. So I wouldn't mind us actually going with a pretty solid tag on him on the weekend, maybe Cunningham. And just seeing what happens there.
Still, like, at the end of the day, if the game's going to be won because of two players, we're probably a really shit team. Let's be honest.
We'll see exactly how well we go without Tippett and Franklin this weekend.
I think we'll be fine. I think we'll surprise ourselves. It's not as though, like, we were incapable as a football club before they came to us.
I'm not saying we're going to be incapable.
In fact, we came off a premiership.
I'm not going to say we're incapable. I'm just saying, like, we've got a game plan that revolves around at least having one of them, not both, which is concerning. And whilst Port have been a bit hit and miss at times this year, if they're on the day, I think we could be in a bit of trouble. But that being said, they are coming off the bye, so hopefully that helps us out.
Join me on 70 points.
I hope when Tippett and Franklin do come back, I think we're playing Brisbane in Brisbane.
Yes.
That they'll just absolutely go nuts up there and get 5 goals each.
I'm not too worried about Brisbane in Brisbane. It's the week after. That's the money maker.
Guys, I don't even care about... look, do you guys know who's coming back next week? It's not Buddy, it's not Tippett. It's someone better than the both of them combined.
The God himself?
Exactly. We are not going to lose another football game after that.
He is...
Bookmark it.
He is pretty amazing. Like, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty horny thinking about him coming back into the team right now. Do you know who we're talking about, Milky?
McGlynn?
Are you serious?
Really?
No, of course we're talking about the one and only Isaac Heaney.
You scared me for a second. God forbid he ever listens to this podcast and actually, like...
Oh, no. I hope he listens to it, because he needs to understand just how good he is.
You reckon he Googled himself and found the first podcast? The one thing was like the 20
Forget
things
the
in the
first
hashtag.
podcast. Probably just the first hashtag.
If you Google Isaac...
I'm going to Google it, actually.
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
Are we seriously doing
knee scare.
Hey, he's got a Twitter.
It doesn't come up until... It just doesn't come up. Thank God.
No, not thank God. It sucks.
I wonder what happens when you type in good looking. Damn.
No, nothing.
Need to get that trending a bit more.
I'm just typing in horny.
As in, like, the actual spelling? Or
No,
like
how
the
he
proper
spells it.
spelling? 'Cause
How
you
he
might want
spells
to
it.
turn safe search.
Yeah, no, it comes up. There's only one thing better than Isaac Heaney.
Well, if you're
Horny
talking horny for
Heaney.
Heaney, of course. No one else Googles that. Who wakes up and decides to, oh yeah, I'm just going to Google horny for Heaney?
Jeez, check out Heaney's guns on his display picture on Twitter.
This is not a creepy conversation.
No, not creepy at all.
I think he looks stunning.
Are you jealous, Milky?
Nah. If there's
You're
one
not
person-
jealous of Bonz frothing over another man?
No, that's fine. Doesn't bother me at all. He's allowed a list of like 3. And
Yeah,
he's
we've
probably allowed
we've got
another.
our list. We've got our list. Milky has his as well. I'm not sure I quite approve of Milky's. He's got a couple of really odd men in
He
there,
is
but
sure on there,
Neil
doesn't he?
Patrick Harris is a star, and I just want him to lull me to sleep.
no, I don't disagree with Neil Patrick Harris. I don't disagree with that.
Are you guys both blind?
No.
Okay, does Luke make your list?
No, because he comes from my area, so
What do you mean he comes from your area?
as in like.
Are there
he's-
people who look like that around your area, and can you introduce me?
Next time
Anyways,
if you're
guys.
over in Melbourne.
Anyways, guys, I'm pretty confident that talking about me and Milky's sex list will go well on into the night. Thank you for listening to this week's Big Footy Podcast. Thank you and good night.
See you later.